And the next slide is the email infrastructure, which basically mean your emailer, or in the example with the authentication, Klaviyo in my example, in my case. Basically, if you're using one of the big senders out there, you won't have a problem, especially if you use a paid account, because the more you go to the free tier and to the cheaper side of things, the more you'll end up on worse pools, because all of these sending infrastructures basically use sending servers that are shared between senders. So you end up, this is what they call a pool, and you end up being with other users in the same pool. And if many of those users, and if you have a bad reputation, you're being placed in a worse pool. Whereas if you have a good reputation, you're going to be advanced in a better pool. So as long as you use as long as you use a big sender like MailChimp, Klaviyo, ActiveCampaign, although I don't really like ActiveCampaign because their reporting, in my opinion, their reporting sucks. If you're using a big sender, you shouldn't be having big issues. But sometimes, because of senders with bad reputations, some of the pools get affected. And as long as you see your email open rates start to go down, and you don't suspect it's because of you, but it's because of the senders, then you can contact them and ask them to move you to a different pool. It's not guaranteed they will do it, but you can at least try it. And if they do not want to change it, if you see you're constantly having bad open rates, even though you're authenticated, if this happens, then if you don't have a domain reputation, so if it's not in your court, then you need to consider changing the ESP, the email sending service. If this happens, then this means you need to switch, but it's highly unlikely. So the first thing, if you want to debug this, is one, are you authenticated or not? Then check the domain name. If your reputation is fine, then look at the sending infrastructure. And this infrastructure, basically, like I said, it's the pools, the servers, and it's basically some data centers, but I won't go that much into detail. And only conclude this way, that you need to firstly check your open rates, and if those go down, then you need to check your domain, and if that is fine, you need to figure out with the ESP and solve this. Again, you need to have an open rate above 30% these days, and if you don't, then you're doing something bad. And I'll tell you about another thing you need to have in mind when I'll move to the list management slide.